What's up, guys? It's Pastor Clint, and I am here at the office tonight. Already feels different. It looks different. It's going to be different. We want it to be different. We need to take time out to acknowledge things that are happening in our community, in our neighborhoods, and in our country. And so we want to stop everything that we would normally do to bring awareness to those things. So some of you guys may already feel like I know what those things are, or I know what that is. And I get it, I understand, but I want to cover a few things first. The first thing is all the youth leaders are meeting tonight to talk about when we're relaunching. So we're going to be relaunching very soon. So that's exciting. If you're a senior, we need you to go and text us. You can reply back to the group text. Let us know that you're a senior. That way we don't miss you. And that's, we want to honor you guys. That senior recognition is coming up very soon. And we'll give you guys a hard date on that. And if you're interested in interning with us this summer, keep looking out for that kind of stuff. All right. So don't want to take any longer because we have a short amount of time. So I invited one of my dear friends from high school to come and speak for a few moments this evening to us, so I could ask him some questions. We can maybe have some hard conversation. And he was also in my wedding, which is super cool. So that was awesome. And he is probably the best musician that I know. All right. So my friend Wendell Rollerson. Wendell, say what's up.
What's up, y'all? How's everybody going?
There we go. Wendell. So we marched in high school together. Now he is a teacher, band director, other things happening. I won't say anything, with that. And so, but man, I called Wendell, and Wendell's always been able to speak straight to me, I feel. And so said, hey, like, talk to me straight. I wanted to bring on a person of color that nobody knew, because I want someone to be able to speak from the heart, and you that's watching this not be able to make a biased opinion on what is said because you know somebody. So you don't know this person, so I'm gonna let them come on and talk and say what's up. So Wendell, hey, say something that you want us to hear. And this is my senior pastor, Pastor
What's
Mike.
up, Wendell?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Thanks for being there. I love all y'all watching this. Y'all peace out.
Straight up.
All right, so let's kind of, like, I don't know how to really start the conversation per se, but maybe kind of give us some insight. I used the analogy earlier about like if you had a pair of glasses on, I'd say, hey, let's trade glasses, and give us some insight from things that you're seeing right now.
Yeah. First, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to do this. So I've been teaching and in the school system for now actually the last 11 years. And it's crazy to think about, but I've got to speak to a ton of students. I love working with students. And I love Jesus. That's the very important thing, I think. And when it comes to this whole subject, I think that our understanding of who God is, it has to shape kind of how we react and how we process what's kind of going on. So maybe a few, I think when you were asking me earlier, some of the first thoughts was that I don't think that Black people or people of color or all have the same, we're not all in the same boat right now about how we all feel. So it's a little bit confusing, I think, to listen to different shots of replies about things, because based on anybody's particular experience, that's going to be their number one motivation for their response. So I think, let me just say, talking about social media, I think that it's really difficult to get a meaningful scope from social media, because it's text talking. And I think that there's also a pressure that you need to respond to something quickly, which, if you think of anything else in life, that's not how you're going to really make a decision about something that's important. Think about your relationship with God. If I just wrote you a letter and just said, you need to be a Christian, and just wrote on a sheet of paper and sent you the letter, and so you need to respond right now, that's not the way that you want to process thinking about your eternal your eternal salvation. So I think what's very important for everybody to do is listen, and how you can do that on social media if you're going to stay on is look at some content and read discussions and don't respond at all. Don't, just see how it works. And one thing that I feel like I've seen, and it's helped me kind of grow in, even in this time, is that I haven't seen any conversations start kind of at a bad place and then get to a good conclusion. I just haven't seen that happen. And so that's either because people are not articulate and don't really understand how to speak to other people, which I don't think that's it. I think that platform is not set up to help people get to where they need to be. So conversations like this, I think, are the absolute best platform. And I encourage all of you hearing this to have a face-to-face conversation, or at least Zoom, not to respond to things or try to start conversations through social media, because no matter if you said, I love Black people or I love people of color, one person's going to see that and say, oh, they're showing their support. Someone else is going to see that and say, oh, they're saying they hate white people. So there's no way that you can keep control of all those things. And so
let me ask you a
that's
question.
probably the thing.
So when we talked earlier, I had, well, one thing I heard over the weekend, I heard Furtick say it in his interview, and, hey, we have lost the art of having conversations because we hide behind likes and comments.
Yeah.
And I think that leans towards what you're telling us. But when we had spoke previously was, hey, help us bridge the gap for this next generation of leaders and students that are coming in.
Yep.
To be able to have healthy conversation,
Okay.
Like how can, like, I had no fear in calling you as a white guy calling a Black guy, because we have a relationship, even though we don't see each other often, but that relationship has been there to say, hey, okay, talk to me. How can we continue to teach kids to do that? Or what are some next steps that they could do to do that?
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good. Correct. Okay, so here's where it's difficult, because there is a section of Black voices that are saying it's taxing for white people. I'm gonna be just straight up with you. It's taxing for white people to ask questions to Black people and expect all these answers and just kind of put pressure on. And for some Black people, that might be true. The way that I feel, I think about if I want to learn about anything, if I want to learn about cars, if I want to learn about art, I'm going to have to find somebody who is really knowledgeable in that section or in that topic. And they are my only source to get educated on it. So I am trying to make myself available to people who I know, like you, who want to see reconciliation happen and come from a good place, and then just have a dialogue and one, allow you to speak with whatever language you have, and meet you halfway so that we can work and get there together. I think that's the number one goal, is trying to find those sorts of people that are trying to do what I'm trying to do, and be a door that you can open. If there's somebody who is saying, no, don't talk to me because, I don't need all this, whatever it is that they say, then I would say, don't push that. Just because that, that might be traumatic for them, but let that happen. There's going to be a bunch of Black people who really want to see white people and Black people and Spanish people come together and grow from this and really solve this situation of racial tension with law enforcement and just with everyday life stuff.
Right.
So I'd say try to find those people.
I think what was interesting, like when you say that, is that I can see people going, well, I've tried to have a conversation with a Black person and they don't want to talk about it. They shut me down. So Black people don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Just like a Black person could say, yeah, no white people ever ask me how I feel. So white people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to stop associating, and you can correct me if I say this incorrectly, but we've got to stop associating that this is one race's opinion based on one individual's, current mood.
Yeah.
No,
that's completely correct.
Yeah. So, because I saw something your sister posted last night. Mm-hmm. Your sister's a little older than you, my age. And,
yep.
and she made the comment like, if you got questions, ask.
Yeah.
You know, and so what are some questions that, or what are some things that, as I'm trying to reach both groups right now, right? Like,
Yeah.
we have Black students in our youth group,
Mhm.
we have white students in our youth group, we have white parents that agree with everything that's happening. I'm sure we have white parents that disagree.
Yeah.
Black parents that agree, Black parents that disagree.
Yep.
You know, and something that Pastor Mike and I have been talking about is like, we can try to, Wendell and I right now are not trying to change anybody's mind,
Right.
but we're trying to open the door to, as believers, say, we've got to allow the Lord to transform our heart. And so what are some things that maybe you see, Wendell, that we can, like, what's our next steps? Like, how are we moving forward? I know the sun's in your eye.
I know. I'm trying to find a place to. Yeah.
No, you're straight, bro.
So that you can see me. That's not working. I'm dark.
That's good. No, sit right there. It's fine. We can
Okay.
see you. Yeah. So what are some things that you feel like, there's a 16-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I saw so many of our youth students yesterday post the black square for Blackout Tuesday. You know,
Yeah.
maybe they feel like they're doing their part. Are they doing their part? Are they not doing enough? What,
Right.
like, you know, what are some next steps?
Yeah, I had a friend call me and ask me about that actually, if she should post, because she was, about a lot of her college friends, they noticed she didn't, and they were like, "Yo, do you not support? Do you support?" You know. Okay, so what I told
And
her.
that's a hard place.
Yes,
Because people
exactly. Yeah,
feel
it
like,
is.
if I say something, you know, it's like, if I don't say something, what am I not saying? If I do, what
Right.
am I, you know, everyone. And like, I think people genuinely, there are people that genuinely love people and
Yep.
genuinely love Jesus
Mm-hmm.
and are trying to do this the right way.
Right.
So sorry I interrupted.
It's okay. There's this quote, and I don't know who actually said it, but everybody knows it. It says, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. And here's the thing about that. It's funny. It's kind of a funny quote, but you are really going to be thought a fool for not talking. Like, and I don't think we really think about that. If you don't make a stance quickly, people are gonna say you're a fool. And you say, well, what's the other alternative? Saying something that you really don't know what you're talking about, and then everyone is going to call you a fool. So Emma Watson did the black square, and she had a white like a border on it, and so she gets nailed because they were like, "Are you saying that you're trying to enclose it with a white, border?" So she got all this hate and stuff. Now, I don't know Emma Watson. I don't know where she was coming from. You know what I'm saying? But if she felt pressure to have to say something, because then now everybody's gonna say, "Well, look, you're a fool." But I wasn't thinking about Emma Watson before she posted. And I'm sure people who are close to her might have been saying, "You need to do this," but I wasn't thinking about her. So what I told my friend, and what I would say to anybody who's trying to figure out how to get involved, is it's okay to wait for a second, because you want your words and your movements, your impact, to actually make change. I think petitions, protests, peaceful protests are legal and fantastic. We need petitions. We need the police the law enforcement to understand what demands need to be, or what reforms need to be brought to the front of the table. But personally, social media trends don't quite do that, and I'm not hating that. At the same time, I know a lot of people did that coming from a good place because they didn't know what else to do. So I'm not judging, saying they're wrong for that. But I'm saying, if you kind of step back for a second and say, one, do I really care about this issue? Two, do I want to see a reform? Then honestly, the black square is not going to be the number one thing that goes on in your day. You know what I'm saying? So if you did it, that's all good. If you did it because you wanted to help and you didn't know what else to do, God bless you. That's fantastic. There are a number of other things I think that will actually cause reform. And so if you want to talk about some of those, we could do that. But I just want to say, don't rush to respond to something where you don't really know what you're doing. You're just trying to follow the trend, and there's pressure to do that.
And I think that can go in all things, right? And that that could go into peaceful protest. I got a protest. I'm just gonna go show up, and then you look like a fool because you're not at a peaceful protest. Or
Right.
I've got to make a stand, or I've got to say this or act this way, and
Right.
and so I think what you're saying is make sure, hey, you're educating yourself through this. You know, are you asking the right questions?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to understand. Like, I mean, I love the example you said. Like, if I need to learn how to work on a car, I'm going to ask a mechanic.
Right.
If I want to know how to play the drums at a professional level, I need to ask Wendell Rollerson because he's a professional musician, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, I think I think you're opening that door. So, you know, I know in my mind there's opinions everywhere right now. Even as people are watching this, right? Someone may be saying, I can't believe Pastor Clint is asking this guy to say these things, right?
Yeah.
And then there may be people on the other side going, I am so thankful, Pastor Clint. And that's where we are as a community.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay, and it's okay to be there.
Yeah.
Like, I want two godly guys who may have the same opinions, who may have differences of opinions,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have a conversation and go, hey, what can we do to serve the human race moving forward?
Right.
Like, if we are all made in the image of God, you know, then how do we continue to serve each other? And, you know, how can we say, like, okay, Wendell, like, your community is hurting, and I don't feel that because I haven't felt that.
Right.
But I have empathy towards that because I love you. I love your family.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, how do I serve you and your family? You know, so what are things that, like, all of us watching this are friends with people of another race?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And at what point do you say, I love my friend enough, I love my neighbor enough to do what scripture says is right, and to serve the hurting, to be Jesus with skin on?
Right.
Right? I like to tell people there's 5 gospels. There's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and you.
Yeah.
And is your gospel pointing to Jesus?
Right. Right.
And so how can we in this season be Jesus? I love some of your thoughts on that, you know, kind of, hey, what are some, I like to say practical things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I think that's the conversation we need to continue, you know, because I don't know, it's a lot, but go ahead.
I think right now, because the climate is so high intense, that I don't even know if there's really any answers that are gonna land well. I've been reading Psalm 6, and David is just crying out to God. I'm not gonna do too much, but I'll just read. It's only like 10 verses. I'll just read really fast. Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your wrath. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I am faint. Heal me, Lord, my bones are in agony. My soul is in deep anguish. How long, O Lord? Turn, Lord, and deliver me. Save me because of your unfailing love. Among the dead, no one proclaims your name. Who praises you from the grave? I am worn out from groaning. All night I flood my bed with weeping, and I drench my couch with tears. My eyes grow weak with sorrow. They fail because of my foes. So just those 7 verses. I would say if you are not close to this issue, if you have never, before this, you've never had a weeping moment from any sort of law enforcement or police encounter, pretend that the person that is crying out is David. And God delivered, because I think that part of it, for anybody who's, it's not just white people, but anybody who's, you could be black and never have any issues with, you know, black with police. That, you know, if you're just apart from this situation from a personal experience level, look at that person through the eyes like they are David, and they are calling out to God, saying, like, Lord, my foes are all around me, and I'm drenched with tears. Instead of defending, saying, like, well, David, you don't have a reason to cry. Like, why are you weeping? You were a king. You know what I'm saying? And like that would make you, no one would read the Bible like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they read these first chapters of Psalms and go, this guy was in anguish. I don't care if he was guilty or innocent. He was in anguish and he was calling out to God. And so
Right.
there is, as Christians, we can get together and go, I know that you need Jesus to deliver you out of it. And I'm going to pray that you don't have to cry your eyes in this situation anymore. Instead of trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong and, who needs to change their mind, there's a spot where I can just say, hey, man, you are crying your eyes out. And I want to be a part of that with you. Like Romans 12, mourn with those who mourn, laugh at those who laugh. Love must be sincere, And I think that's right now, we don't really need any answers, because when you're angry, you're not trying to necessarily get answers. You're just trying to not be angry anymore. And so I think that's one thing that anybody, I'll just say white, because that's how this is being labeled,
Sure.
If you don't have, when you see police, if you feel like, all right, cool, and you don't feel like, oh, then I would take that advice and say, look at that person who is screaming out, not like they are anti-Trump or not like they're anti, conservative values or whatever, but they're just somebody who's in anguish and they're crying, weeping out. And so I think that would probably be my thought towards anybody who's far away from it. On the people who've had issues in
Right.
the deep part of the Black community, I would say that we have got to decide, if we love God, if we know Jesus, we've got to decide who is going to define who we are. And if it's going to be the culture, which is going to promote things that are not godly, they're not. It's violence. It's, it's everything that rap music is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If we're going to promote that stuff in our own life, it's a double standard when somebody else does it. It's like, I understand we all feel like I can call my brother an idiot, but you can't call my brother an idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at this level, we've got to say, my relationship with God, my understanding of who he's called me to be is going to become my identity.
Yeah.
And I've got to be part of that reconciliation process. So
I love that. I love it. I think I've been guilty of this for so long, but asking someone in a different situation, whether Black or white, in any situation, okay, well, tell me what happened, and then they tell me, and then I go, yeah, but,
right.
and then I tell them why they shouldn't feel that way.
Right.
And my heart is not to prove them wrong. My heart is to say, like, yeah, but see it from the other side.
Right.
And it wasn't until I spoke to another individual the other day, and he said, people ask me, but then they say but, and it reneges everything that I say. And it makes me think back to be slow to speak and quick to listen.
Yes.
Are we putting rhetoric out there so that people can know where I stand? And the truth is, I don't know that the Black community needs to know, all of my opinions about everything.
That's true.
They just need to know that I'm standing right there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like humanity, like we're talking about humanity, like God's people,
right?
Yeah. And I just want to remind people, like I say this all the time, but like Jesus wasn't white.
Right.
We have a very Americanized gospel.
Yeah.
And so, man, I think I would love to do this again, specifically with you.
Sure, I would too. Yeah.
Because I love you, and so you know that. And Wendell's been in my life since he was 13. How old are you now?
32.
Maybe younger than that. Hang on, maybe like 12.
It might have been 12.
I think it might be 12. So 32. Only 3 years apart, but so we got some time together.
Yes.
And so, man, I love you. I love your family. You know that, your whole family. And Wendell's also a PK, so he could come from a whole nother perspective of not even loving the church. Like he loves the Lord. He loves people, and I'm so thankful for you, man. So, any closing thoughts? I know we had to rush a little bit tonight just because of some other things happening, but.
I mean, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I can give you my info, and I would love to, offer anything that I can, because I want to see this solved. I don't just want to let people know that I'm mad or I'm angry. I really want to see a solution to this because I have been affected, and I am tired of, just being in this same, it's like being in a bad relationship. After a while, you just get so tired of being there. You just want out. I'll do whatever it takes. I got to get out.
Yeah, that's good. So I don't want you to say your phone number on here because it's like all
Right.
over the World Wide
No,
Web.
yeah.
But
Right.
so what's like an Instagram handle or something?
Oh yeah. It's just Wendell_Roller.
All right,
Just
so
my
you
name.
totally froze. So say it one more time.
Yep. Wendell, WENDELL_Rollerson, RAULERSON, and it's got me a little drum picture there.
There
Okay.
you go. And I think for some people, you may be surprised whenever you start to follow him about some things in his life. So, you know, anyway, I love you, man. You're
You too,
amazing.
man.
Thank you for, nobody's fighting to be right in this moment. I think that's what's important.
Yeah.
You were saying it, like, it's like when somebody dies, you don't go to them and like, but they're in heaven.
Right.
Like,
Right. Or if they deserved it. Yeah.
right. Like, you sit there and you don't know what to say and you be quiet and you cry with them and you listen and like I think that our Black community is hurting. We need to be quiet and listen.
Mhm.
Like let's listen, And so thanks for helping me do that and being willing to help me do it even better if I'm not doing it well enough. And
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank you for the platform.
Yeah, man, you deserve it.